Those of you that are non-stop watching me on the live stream, you probably know all of those tips and tricks, but YouTube community doesn't know. And it is time to compile in multiple different parts all of the tips and tricks that I know, that I have learned. Shout out to my undercover backseat gaming community. It's a joke, you stupid moron. Mimi mama douchebag Eroktic. It's content, yes, it's content, okay? Okay, first thing, let me just spawn a few items real quick so we can get started. We're gonna start with inventory management. You see a bunch of items on the floor, right? The best way how to equip items on you is through the inventory. You can hold it and you can move it here, but if you already have gear on you, it is gonna be a little bit harder. And my best tip for that is to always drag the items on top right here, where it says inventory. Always drag your items on this small box. It is gonna automatically equip, no matter where it is, all of the items. And with some of the practice, it is not gonna be that hard to equip all of those items on you, because you will not need to aim. For example, military backpack. You have military backpack, you cannot just hover it right here. I mean, you can hover it right here if it is empty like this, right? But if it is not empty, it is gonna be red. It will not be equipped. You have two options. You can drag it right here on these boxes, or you can drag it on empty place, empty spot here, right? But the most reliable location is definitely on top of the inventory. Now the second thing, picking up the items from the floor, from the vicinity. It also works from the containers, but double clicking the items is gonna automatically place the items inside of your backpack, no matter what. Now the another thing is, when you have weapons, weapons have a priority to go on your holster first. Holster is always number one. So if holsters are empty, double clicking is gonna automatically equip weapons on your holster. But double clicking the third weapon, it will not drag it on in your hands, and also it will not drag it in your inventory. But if you have two holsters full and you have some kind of a weapon like MP5 or AKS that can fit inside of a backpack, that AKS is gonna automatically go inside of a backpack. Let's say that your inventory is full and the AKS is here in the holster and your hands are empty. With right clicking and taking into the hands is gonna give you the fastest way to equip those weapons in your holsters and in your hands. Let me spawn more items. To give you another example. Now your inventory is full and you kill the guy. Let's just say that you wanna change your military ballistic vest with his military ballistic vest. With holding your military vest and dragging it directly on the left side of a vicinity, it is gonna automatically drop it. And you can take his military vest and place it inside of your inventory on your character. The really important thing is that items that you're dropping on the floor are gonna always be on the bottom. Which means you can open it up, and also when you have a lot of items on the floor, always double click spam bottom part of the screen, because all of the items in the vicinity are gonna go towards the bottom, not towards the top. Which means with not even moving your mouse, you're gonna automatically pick up all of those items from your ballistic vest into his ballistic vest. I'm just gonna give you a couple of examples. For example, I wanna change waist bag, I wanna change backpack. I'm taking his backpack, I'm taking his waist backpack, and the stuff that you dropped are always on the bottom. So you just double click, you just open both of those, scroll all the way on the bottom and start with the spamming. You're gonna increase looting drastically, like insanely fast. We're doing this tactic. Now the another thing, hotkeying the stuff that you already have. Let me just take the SVD and let me place the adapter. You can hotkey hunting scope, for example. You can place hunting scope on your quick access, and if you have weapon and if you have the items required, for example Dragunov adapter, with just clicking number 3 from the quick access, it is gonna automatically mount and unmount scope. It also works with the ACOG. You can like have ACOG on 5, hunting scope on 3. And also removing items from the quick access, the best and the most efficient way is dragging it right here in the open area. When it's green, it is gonna drop it on the floor. As long as it's red, and it is gonna be red all the way. Like you cannot see it, but it is red all the time. All the time. No matter where, how far away you're trying to drag it. And you're gonna automatically remove it. Now I'm assuming this is a common sense, but I'm gonna repeat it. If everything is full, and you're going to do some kind of action, chopping a tree, drinking a water, blah blah blah, your weapon is gonna drop, and you're gonna hear this sound. And also I wanna give you the example with the X. When you have items in your holsters and stuff like that, for example like this, your X, after doing something, after chopping trees, your X is gonna always go in the holster. So pay closer attention on that so you do not lose the weapon. You will always have to remove X from your holsters inside of your backpack. I wanna give you another tip. A lot of people have asked me about bashing hotkey. So let's go over those hotkeys real quick. For the simple bash, you're holding shift and you press left click. That is default. But don't be mistaken, it is not that overpowered. You're gonna bash puppets only to take some kind of a distance away from them. For example, if you encounter the puppet and he's on you like this, try to bash him. Bash is your last hope. Don't try to kill puppets with a bash because it is not efficient. Now, since we are talking about those advanced commands, let's go over all of those advanced key bindings that we have in a game. With having a scope, with double clicking, holding a breath button, you're gonna start to work with the rangefinder. And the ACOG and hunting scope, they both have a rangefinder. And with double clicking, holding a breath, he's gonna calculate the distance where you're aiming at. You have to be really stable to have the most efficient calculation possible. And also really important detail about rangefinder is sniping skill. The higher sniping skill you have, more accurate your character is gonna calculate the distance that you're aiming at, and also the more sniping you have, faster your sniping is gonna be. So that range calculation and everything is gonna be much faster and much more accurate, which means if you're aiming on the further ranges, you're gonna have to redo this process a couple of times, and then you're gonna have to calculate the average amount of numbers. For example, right now it says 85 meters, right now it says 115 meters. So the longer range it is, more trouble you're gonna have with figuring out what is the most accurate calculation on the range. Another thing is holding left shift and scrolling with the wheel is gonna increase and decrease zeroing. Also, one of my favorite things in this game is this right here. Aiming down the sight and not aiming down the sight in the third person perspective. You're gonna gain that FOV advantage, definitely, and you should always explore like this. But when you're in the traffic area where players are, then you should probably have that crosshair up and running, because even in a third person sometimes you'll not have time to react, and even shooting somebody in a third person, it is gonna save your life, definitely. And for example, even with a scope, you know, even when you have a scope, you're gonna land those shots, no matter what. The another thing about the backpacks, I hate hiking backpacks, and the reason why I hate hiking backpack is because how shouldering works in this game. Your character is always holding the weapon on the right shoulder. And when you're aiming on the left side, that hiking backpack is drastically reducing your line of sight. And I'm always recommending to wear assault backpack over camo hiking backpack, because look at the difference between hovering over. Like you can literally see the middle of your screen with the assault backpack. And it doesn't even have that much slots. It has 7 slots more. And look at the difference. difference is ridiculous. And I don't even want to talk about that your character is less visible with assault backpack. Assault backpack is the way to go, no matter what. Now the another thing that I haven't seen that many people doing, but I'm gonna give you the example. Let's just take something that is not that well built. So when you're in crouch position, you're like this, and when you're standing up, you're way too exposed. There is a cool, neat trick with holding right click. People are thinking that there is just prone, crouch, and standing. That is not true. You also have different layers between standing and crouch. You see this? With holding control and scrolling the button, you can go in a different stances, and it is gonna greatly min-max your exposure. You're gonna have much more flexibility if you're doing this little trick, because you can literally pick through anything that you want with holding control and scrolling the mouse wheel. That was my part 1 of tips and tricks. There is gonna be plenty more of these types of videos. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one. Eroktic out!